You're with Julian on the brown note and a belated review of Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Names are everything, aren't they? I think names can really matter, and Fury Road was a great name, but a Mad Max saga, just call it Furiosa. Someone somewhere has sat him down and said, you need to include Mad Max in the title. Don't. It just weakens the name. So this is a film that came out to excellent reviews, just like Fury Road. But even Fury Road underperformed at the box office given the enormity of the cost of producing it. A large part of which was down to the fact that they had to relocate from Broken Hill, the entire film, to South Africa when Broken Hill burst into bloom, destroying the desert aesthetic, which added an enormous amount to the budget. And this wasn't cheap either, and it looks expensive as well. So George Miller's done 5 Mad Max films, and honestly, looking at the lay of the land of the Terminator, Alien, Predator franchises, it's really holding up as one of the best sci-fi franchises of all time. I think Fury Road was a masterpiece. Idiots say that it wasn't because they probably didn't like the fact that the Tom Hardy character may as well have not been in the film and it was a girl film. As to a degree, this one is. So you do get people out there saying about how it is rubbish, but it is undoubtedly one of the great sci-fi action films of the century, unlike the 2 Dune films, which are crap. So this one's come out to great reviews and hasn't done, it's being called a massive flop, and it's also part of a run of films that got really good reviews and massively underperformed at the box office. So we had this run of films like the Planet of the Apes film and the Fall Guy movie and so on that did actually quite well, and on paper looked like they were going to make a ton of money and not covering the amount of money that they cost. And then you've got like Pixar and coming out with Inside Out and doing $1 billion in about 3 weeks. So it's a weird world out there in cinema land. I think in general they're spending too much money on these films. They're giving these films 500-600 million break-even points. Obviously, if a film costs $190 million to make, and they make $90 million, they've lost a lot of money because they're not getting that money back, and they've spent another $150 million on marketing, and they also give money to the cinemas, so they need to make $550 million. And it keeps happening. But anyway, so this one is a precursor to Fury Road. So in Fury Road, Charlize Theron's character stole a harem from a warlord who ran a citadel, and he had serious health problems and was played by the guy that played Toe Cutter in the first Mad Max movie, which was wonderful. Sadly, he's passed away and he's not in this film. He died a couple of years ago. And the names are magnificent as well. Praetorian Jack. No, not the Praetorian Jack. Who's the People Eater? The Organic Mechanic? Rictus Erectus? Scrotus? Some of the best names. The Octoboss. It has the best names in movie history. Black Thumb, Chum Bucket, War Pup. Absolutely magnificent. And we don't get Max for the first time in all 5 movies. So this time around it starts a long time ago with the Furiosa character played by Charlize Theron. When she's a little kid, she lives in this oasis, which is what she returns to in Fury Road and finds is an oil-slick wasteland with the remnants of her tribe. But here we go all the way back to when it's a green oasis, and there's these sort of marauders that stumble across it. And the very, very young Anna Taylor-Joy character of Furiosa, played by Alia Brown. Lila Brown. Is it? I don't know how you pronounce that. It's very weird spelling. Lila Brown. She plays like a 10-year-old girl who stumbles across these people that she doesn't want to go back into the outside world and let people know that there's this oasis where her community lives, her matriarchal community. And she gets kidnapped by them. And then we get her mother pursuing these people across the desert, ultimately arriving at one of the... So in the original, we got the Citadel, which was the place where Immortan Joe is the character I'm talking about. Immortan Joe, played by a different actor this time around, due to Hugh Keays-Byrne passing away. It's played by Lucky Hume now. Immortan Joe owns the Citadel, and then there's the Bullet Farm, which provides all the ammunition, and then there's the gas town, which provides all the fuel for the vehicles. So there's these 3 cities, and they all function with each other to provide each other with what they need, such as water from the Citadel, bullets from Bullet Town, and petrol from Gas Town. But there's this time around, Chris Hemsworth owns a band of nomad bikers, and we get to see that there's a lot more people out here in the wilderness roaming around the desertscape doing unspeakable things. And the very young Furiosa ends up being kidnapped and taken to him. Everyone's very impressed that she seems to be a pure-blood human, but the inference is that she'll be kept for breeding stock once she's old enough. Her mother finds her, liberates her, and I guess the main difference between this film, her mother is then sort of like in a chase, but unlike Fury Road, which was very much analogous to Mad Max 2, which was one long chase, this is a film that takes place over multiple years. So we get to see Furiosa become part of the people at the Citadel, narrowly avoiding becoming one of the people that she would end up rescuing, because they want her to be part of this harem where Immortan Joe can try and breed a child that isn't in some way disabled, which has been the case throughout his life. But she manages to sort of hide as a boy for years until she sort of grows up. It's much more, it's not a film that's entirely about the Anna Taylor-Joy character. Anna Taylor-Joy doesn't really appear until the midway part of the film. It's the younger actress. One of the most amazing things I've seen is the way that they blend Anna Taylor-Joy with the younger actress, Alea Brown. They use CGI and they up the percentage of Anna Taylor-Joy's face on the younger actress. I kept rewinding it to, where did Anna Taylor-Joy actually become the lead actress? And I couldn't work it out. So you see this younger actress gradually changing, her slight changes in facial features. And at one point, and you're like, okay, that's Anna Taylor-Joy now, but when did she arrive? And you can't tell. It's brilliantly done. I've never seen a movie actually do that with a younger and older character. Normally it's like a click and you're onto the older one. Here you can't tell at all. And it's a film more about the relationship between Chris Hemsworth's band of warriors and the 3 cities, and the years-long conflict between them that they have vying for power. Much more than it is a film about Furiosa and her character per se. But it does, like Rogue One, it does dovetail right up to the moment of Fury Road, which was awesome. For me, it's Chris Hemsworth's film. I think like when the original came out, when Fury Road came out, and there was a lot of talk about Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron not getting on, Tom Hardy coming out and saying because he felt so lost, he didn't know what to do in an environment, a cinematic environment where everything was on green screen and everything was like special effects, and he had no idea how to act in that environment. Chris Hemsworth, after a decade of being in the MCU universe, definitely does. So he plays this character that is incredibly resourceful, maybe not massively bright, pretty evil, but very, very perceptive. Trump-esque in many ways. He might not be the brightest, but he's so resourceful and he can read the room so well that he's able to gain great power through that side of his character. And it's really a battle over the years between the different cities and him, more than it is. Furiosa is a character that comes to the fore more as the movie moves into its light. She's like the dominant character a little bit at the start, but she's almost a background character to what's going on throughout. And Tom Burke, who has almost a romantic relationship with Furiosa, which normally I would say that would be the death knell, and they definitely dialed it back from what they intended, from what I read, that the Anna Taylor-Joy and Tom Burke character would have a romance. Normally I'd say 100% that was the right move, but I actually quite like their bonding because it's such a like loveless world. The fact that they actually genuinely seem to, respect each other. He's like the guy that drives the truck that Charlize Theron would have stolen in the Fury Road film. He's famed for always doing these really dangerous runs in the truck to go and get bullets and so on. He takes the Anna Taylor-Joy character under his wing, and they sort of form this bond. I thought this was superb. I don't give it. I don't. Why? When did we care so much? Like the most annoying things now are like a good film doesn't do good box office, or they praise a really bad film for everyone watching it on Netflix for free. I thought this looked absolutely stunning. Simon Duggan did the cinematography. Tom Hulkenberg, who records under Junkie XL, brilliant soundtrack, absolutely thundering soundtrack. Many absolutely stunning action sequences, like the one where the Chris Hemsworth's bikers attack the Citadel, and they're all swooping down and picking them up, and even vehicles. It's just amazing. And the long form battle sequence, which took about 80 days to film, where they're trying to get this massive war rig truck, which is essentially a massive truck, and they're attacking it. They did that exact same thing in Fury Road. This time around, they've got like these swooping, flying things going on where they take off from their motorbikes and start flying in the air around. It's absolutely breathtaking. The color palette is amazing. The sound is amazing. The visuals are amazing. It's just shy of Fury Road, not by much. It's not as immediately compelling as Fury Road, but only by a fraction. And partly because it's a long-form film that takes place over a much larger time period with lots of different elements going on. Chris Hemsworth, I thought was superb. I thought it was his film more than any. Anna Taylor-Joy comes to her own. She looks a bit lost like Tom Hardy does, but she was fine. And the denouement, which lasts forever, is really, really good. The way it all pans out is fantastic. So I think it's another fantastic Mad Max film. Only Mad Max 3 isn't fantastic. So I'm going to give Furiosa a Mad Max Saga a solid 9 out of 10. It's fantastic. It wipes the floor with Dune 2.